Hi everyone, you're watching the Virtual Amicus and I'm Jay Lodha. Well, today there's a special segment, a special session. It will be in a Q&A format on a career and how to build a successful career in intellectual property law. Now, as we all are aware that intellectual property law is basically a body of laws that protect or enforce legal rights of both creators and owners of inventions. It could be writing, music, designs, etc. And all such works are called intellectual property. So it could be an invention in case of a patent. It could be a copyright when it comes to a musical note or a song, or it could, when it comes to a logo, it could be a trademark, etc. and etc. So today, this session will be presided over by a very eminent lawyer who needs no formal introduction, but our format is such that we generally give an introduction to start the session. So today we are joined by a renowned I.P.R expert, Mr. Vishal Katariya, who's a founder of a boutique intellectual property law firm that offers legal services in the field of intellectual property, both protection and commercialization of intellectual property, Katariya and Associates. So just to give you all a brief background about our speaker, Mr. Vishal Katariya did his LLB and two LLMs, one from UK and one from USA, and established his firm with a vision of providing international standard of legal service in Pune. He is the chair professor for intellectual property rights at the prestigious University of Pune. He is the first appointee to the I.P.R chair and one of the youngest for any chair in this country. So, and he received his law degree at ILS Law College, Pune. He stood second in the merit ranking in University of Pune and was awarded the coveted DFID scholarship by the British government in recognition for his outstanding academic achievements and to study law in the University of Bristol, which is England. And Mr. Katariya was awarded another scholarship to study Masters of Law. His focus study has always been intellectual property, which and studies finer details of patent, trademark, copyright law. Franklin PS Law School is one of the more premier institutes in the US which imparts intellectual property, and he studied I.P.R there as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Katariya, for taking out time from your busy schedule on a working day for us. And since I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, it will be a Q&A session. So, sir, anything which you wish to say before we start our segment?
I thank you, Jay, because I think this is something at a very young age that you've taken up. I would say it's a social cause, it's a legal cause, and I applaud what you're doing. It's a fantastic endeavor, and I do wish to contribute whenever you wish to have such sessions. And I wish you all the very best for futurism.
So such kind words coming from such an eminent lawyer. Thank you so much, sir. That really means a lot. So let's quickly start with our session, the Q&A segment. And we here proceed with the first question. Sir, if you could give us a brief introduction on what intellectual property law is all about.
Universally, intellectual property law deals with creation of intellect. So anything that is created using your intellect. So as you rightly said in the introduction, if it is an invention or innovation, that is covered by patent in the intellectual property rights. If you have something creative in the field of arts or literature, it is covered by copyright. If you have something interesting in terms of doing businesses based on certain brands or logos, it is taken care by trademark law. If you are creative in the field of designing something, then it is protected under the Design Registration or Design Act of Intellectual Property laws. So, and many others. So, however, primarily we focus on the first four because there are many Plant Variety Protection Act, Software Circuitry Act and stuff like that. But we'll focus only on the first four initially, or that's what the brief is about intellectual property.
Thank you so much, there, sir, for this wonderful introduction. Now, coming to our next question, how does a law student or a lawyer, get this first-hand experience in this very field? What do you suggest? Is it by way of doing internships or plain and simple reading or pursuing a course on it? How does one start studying this very field? Where is the starting point?
Now that is a very interesting question, simply because I mean, it's so fluid. So as a law student, I can always give my example, and I can always share the examples where I go and teach. So normally students get excited when they start hearing about the subject, or when they start interacting with people who understand that subject. It could be their friend, it could be their senior, it could be their teacher. I was impressed by one of my seniors. Some other students get impressed by the teachers who come and teach. So I reckon on the safer side, it is good to say that all the younger students would be looking up at their seniors who may have pursued or gone on to pursue LLM, or their teachers who come and teach them I.P.R courses. I believe most of the law schools teach I.P.R courses in both the 3-year LLB course or 5-year BSL LLB courses. So that is the starting point where students get introduced or flavored to the intellectual property. And then what do they do after that flavor is where the career interest could take them. So as you said, they could either intern with a specialized I.P.R firm, or they could join an internship or do an internship with research labs, which has a lot of turnaround on IP, because they do a lot of reading on IP, a lot of prior art, a lot of reading of claims, claim comparison, claim charts, etc. So starting is the interest, as I said, seniors or teachers. And then what do they do is to take up an internship, because that's the core basis. In internship, 3 to 6 months time, you get a flavor wherein you understand pretty fairly whether you are made for it or whether I.P.R is your cup of tea. That sort of thing.
Thank you so much, sir. There. So coming to our next question. Now, I.P.R, intellectual property rights in a law school curriculum, sir. If 99 out of 100 times there will be a law school that has I.P.R as a compulsory subject, not elective, and you don't have an option but to go through it. So if it's part of your curriculum, then which books would you recommend from your personal experiences or from your journey that you undertook?
I would actually go out of the box here, and I would say read the book which is on your reading list. So P. Narayanan is like a standard favorite in India for all the law students. Because, well, I mean, so my answer is in two segments. One is to stick to the reading list given by your teacher, which is most probably P. Narayan or any other such teacher of renown who has written decent IP books. But more importantly, I would recommend and suggest that do extra reading. So we call like additional reading in terms of cases. And you can also buy case law books. So for example, you can buy a case law book of US patent cases or US trademark cases or US copyright cases. Similarly, you can buy books which are European in nature, European patent or European trademark or copyright laws, or Indian, because the cases are far more interesting to read than to read the very sort of black and white sort of I.P.R law book. Because I would rather have my students understand the nature of I.P.R as to how it evolves in the cases, how it is used, why it is so, and then again go back to the curriculum. So you start with the curriculum, then you read the case laws, understand the interesting aspects of it. Now, knowing that, you can come back to the case, to the school curriculum activity again. And from that perspective, you start reading if you are interested. Because after the case laws, again, you pretty much will understand whether you're interested in it or you're not. But I guarantee if anybody, any student or a youngster reads IP laws from the case laws or read the cases, they will be highly interested in pursuing this field.
So just to add to that, suppose there is a law school and there is no compulsory subject on I.P.R. Any particular student edition that you would recommend, or a student should switch directly to a commentary on I.P.R.?
No, then I would recommend P. Narayanan. He is a standard author So the introductory book by P. Narayanan is really good. And I think it was before I was a law student, and I think we still have the newer editions of the same book. So that book is a decent starting point because it gives you a cursory knowledge of all intellectual property aspects, so patent, trademark, copyright, design, etc. So that would be a good starting.
Well, that would definitely benefit all our viewers. So, Mr. Narayan is the author that Mr. Katariya highly recommends for all law students, irrespective of whether I.P.R is a part of your curriculum or not, to start with. So, thank you so much there, sir, once again. Now, coming to our next question, the importance of moot court competitions first, and any particular moot court that you would recommend organized by any of the law schools in India? Any moot court?
Yes. Yes, so I think it's a logical advancement. So a student first studies law, then as you said, he would end up reading I.P.R law or hear about it from his senior or from his teachers. He or she then would decide whether they would want to pursue it. They would read case laws or cases, interesting cases. And post which, it is more than logical that now the student has generated or student has inherent interest in the subject matter. Now you want to read more and you want to do something in that field. So moot court or publication is the most logical way of semi-serious work that a student can undertake. Because as a student, I remember moot court for me was life and death. As a student, a publication was life and death. I thought, oh my God, what will happen if I fail here or if I do not do my best? Now, at this age, we understand that that's the best learning experience a law student can have. So all the students who are interested in moot courts, there are many specialized moot courts. But as I said, it also depends because since there are many private law schools, I no longer have the database otherwise which I had as a part of university teaching curriculum, that we would tell the students to take part in such highly specialized moot courts. So now with all the search engines available or search methodologies available, the students can search for specialized moot courts in this field. Publication also is not restricted only to the law journals. You can also write your own commentary on a recent case and share it on the school journal, share it with the newspaper, share it with any legal publication house, and see what reaction is generated. And last word on this is do not get disheartened. So this is, again, as I said, this is not life and death. It is just the primary step. We all have to take that first step to climb Mount Everest. We all have to take the first lap to cross the English Channel. So don't get disheartened. This is just the starting exercise. And this exercise is not for the outward world, but this is for you. So it tells you, can you read this subject matter for 30 days in a row? Are you interested to pursue this in researching and writing? And if the answer is yes, it pretty much tells you that this could be a career interest. So I would suggest both publication and moot.
Thank you so much, sir. There, I think to sum it all up, both are extremely important, essential, and integral part of a law school. But a law student should not worry about the outcome, whether it's a victory or whether suffers a loss, because it should not create any kind of anxiety. Ultimately, it's the effort that you put in that matters, that helps in gauging the passion that you have for the field. So thank you so much. There. Yes, sir. So now coming to our next question on internships in this field. Now we have copyrights, patents, trademarks, geographical designs, etc. Now, are these internships collectively or based on all of these fields in toto, or is it individually done? Like for copyright, I have to choose one particular chamber, or for patent, I have to choose, or is it done in entirety in one particular chamber?
This Jay is very, very interesting, and this will need a little elaboration on my part. So depending, let us suppose a student is ready for an internship. The internship can be pursued at various levels or various places. If it is a specialized IP firm, which India has plenty these days, then they will have all of these verticals in the same chamber or in the same law firm. So for example, if a student joins my chamber, then we deal with patent, trademark, copyright, and design, everything. However, if the law firm is like a top 10 law firms in India, then they would fairly have segregated sections. So patent section will deal with only patents and not interact with the trademark department. So in those kind of situations, the student, if he or she is a science graduate, that they have BSc in any of those subjects, maths, chemistry, bio, or physics, then they can pursue internships in the patent department of a law. But if it's a general student who has pursued, say, BCom or arts in their undergraduate degree, or they're in the 5-year law course, then they can go for trademark or copyright or general law firm, which deals with all of these things. So taking a step back, if you're a science student, a science undergraduate, degree holder, then please see that you go and specialize internship at a patent department of a bigger law firm. If you're a general student, then go for a mid or small law firm, which handles all these things in one, under one roof. So that will kind of give you the experience of all the departments. So that should be the internship pattern. Second thing I would like to say is, I have also seen students, I have been guiding students for last more than 15, 20 years. My suggestion to the students is, most of the students seek internships for a month or two. So I normally recommend students do not fall for such 1-2 months internship. It's generally speaking, I mean, I'm not saying blanket, there are a few exceptions, but generally speaking, it's a rather waste of time unless you give a nice 4 or 5 months to an internship. So a lot of students come back to this and say, sir, we have holidays or vacation only for 1 or 2 months, Diwali vacation or a summer vacation. And this is true if you are taking a cross-country sort of internship. But for that matter, I would suggest that look for an internship in your own hometown or where the law school is, and continue it even after the vacation. So you have like a 4 to 6 months of composite experience, because the people who mentor you will start taking interest in you only after they understand you better and they take you seriously and there is a human interaction. So please have that leverage of 4 to 6 months. Secondly, when you're writing for internship, please make it a point to say that we are also looking for unpaid internship, because a lot of firms, lawyers, small or big, they want to have that clarity whether you're looking for a paid internship with a stipend or unpaid internship. And assuming that students are writing for a stipend internship, most of the law firms will not fall into it because there is no budgetary provision. So I would strongly recommend the students to do these two things, which will change the outcome or the result of their applications for internship. One, ask for a longish experience to 4 months minimum, and tell them upfront that we are not looking for a stipend. It could be absolutely free of cost, because that's foot in the door. As soon as you put the foot in the door and the chamber or the law firm likes you, they will of course pay you stipend. But they cannot keep doling out stipend, and it's not a sort of a railway station wherein 100 people come, 100 people go. You're churning out a lot of in and out students. So as soon as they start liking you and you are doing something in return, you're taking off the burden of some associate or a partner, they will recommend you and you will be put on a stipend. So these are the two sort of pointers that I could give.
So to all the viewers who are watching, a very important point that was made by Mr. Katariya, that these short-term, short-duration internships don't help anybody, irrespective of any field. It is these long-term internships that not only help you identify your passion in this field, but also to create further job opportunities in the form of PPOs that the firms might end up offering you. So just to add to that, one quick question. any international internship, for example, with World Intellectual Property Organization or any other such organization, would you recommend, or is it just a luxury or not a necessity that
Yeah, so see, the thing about WIPO internship is the internships are very few and the applicants are global. So I would recommend such sort of international internships once the student pursues his international degree or international masters. Because in India, we have such amazing avenues open, from judiciary, law firms, research labs, corporate firms, universities which have R&D facilities. So I would recommend these internships first. But if the student then decides to pursue LLM abroad, then WIPO internship will be one of those aspects wherein you could also try for international internships. Rather, because they are rather expensive to travel and stay and accommodation and the daily life there. Secondly, they are very short term. They are barely 2 months to begin with. So they are, I would not say they're not recommended, but only after a certain stage, if you can get an easy break, then fine.
So I think it is important to strategize your internships, otherwise they'll end up only having a cosmetic value more than the real value that they create. So, sir, coming to now you've done 2 LLMs, so you're in a best position to guide the viewers who are watching that why 2 LLMs when you could have been happy and content with one.
Yeah. Again, as I said, every question is interesting because we are talking of an interesting subject. In law, you have something called, we have common law or Commonwealth laws or common law system. So in common law system, most of the times, whether it's Australia, Canada, Kenya, India, we look towards England. So for a law student, it was an obvious choice that I go and pursue my master's from a British university. When I went there, of course, the education system is fantastic and it's very grueling, and they kind of make sure that you read and understand everything to an extent that you can almost start taking a lecture. But one of the facets which I learned towards the end of my British LLM was that the practical aspect was missing. You study everything, you can give a lecture on it, you can write a book on it, but I thought, how do I practice it? Like, how do I actually start with my own hands? And that part is very capably done in the US, especially the law school I went to, Franklin Pierce. At that point, it was #2 in ranking in year 2000. So as soon as I entered the US for a second LLM to pursue it a little more practically, then I realized that they were offering 4 courses in patent or 5 courses in patent law, wherein they taught you how to draft a patent, how to draft claims. They taught you how to patent litigate. So suddenly, from one subject, which traditional universities in India or UK would handle, they suddenly had like branches of factors, various fields in the field of, say, patent. Same thing happened with trademark. So the practical aspect made it more alluring that I pursue another LLM in the US, so I get best of the both. So I had very good theory, which was done in UK and India, and very good practical aspect, which was done in the US, and hence the 2 LLMs.
Wow, that's a very interesting take on 2 LLMs, sir. Now we are in the middle of a pandemic, sir. So what, according to you, has it changed the scenario in terms of jobs, the job opportunities that are available in the field of I.P.R law, both in the middle of a pandemic or a post-pandemic era?
I think yes. Short term, the answer is yes. Long term, the answer is, we are all we all have to have a dream. We all have to have something to look forward to. So short term, yes. Short term, things have changed. People are not taking the calls otherwise they would take. So for example, a lot of students write to me for online internship. Now, the problem with online internship is there is no human interaction. I don't have the affinity to the student as otherwise I would have when I see him or her every day in the office. Second thing is the sharing of the data. It's easier for me to share my data, my client data or my data which is related to applications with somebody who comes to my office every day, vis-a-vis with someone who I've never seen, who interacts with me only online. So online internships, if they are available, have that limitation with most of the law firms. As far as other internships are concerned, I think it's a temporary setback. Most probably, like we are opening from 1st of July, that's tomorrow, and we start with 3 new interns. So most law firms will take such a call depending on the geopolitical nature of where they are and what are the restrictions. But temporary, Jay. I don't think long term it will affect. And in fact, the students could use this time to read, to interact, to communicate with lawyers and fix their places for the coming future. So some students write to me and I say, well, now not possible now, but hey, why don't you join, say, September, October, November? So at least you establish a rapport with the law firm you want to work with. You tell them that you're open whenever they are open, and things should work out in their favor.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. Now, next is although a very funny question, but then it generates a lot of interest and exciting. On perks, pros, and cons of IP law. Do you think it attracts additional perks for law students to approach this field?
Yeah. So I start with this statement that you are in the most wonderful profession of law. So all the students who are listening, all the students who will listen to us, first, thank God that you are in a wonderful profession called law. Secondly, you are in the profession which is highest tax paying profession in the world for individual taxpayers. Thirdly, when we talk of perks, it is not just the monetary or material perks, but it's also the satisfaction we get when we do certain things. And you would get the optimum or the best satisfaction in the field of I.P.R, especially because it's an empowering tool. So I.P.R is very democratic. It doesn't see, you don't have to be rich or poor or, brilliant or not so brilliant person. An idea can come to anybody. So being a democratic system wherein anybody can have a wonderful idea to work on, you as an I.P.R lawyer have a capability now to enrich him by taking care of his intellectual property. So as a part of the I.P.R chair, which I was part of at the University of Pune, we sort of leveraged this point and said a normal villager, a school dropout, a college dropout, a retired person, a teacher, an engineer, anybody would come up with an idea, see if it's exciting, talk to your IP lawyer, and if they can help you, then it becomes an enriching tool where you can actually capitalize on the IP and make money out of it. So the joy you get when your client earns through the intellect is amazing. And second perk, which I do not know whether to call it perk or not, but you get to interact with very exciting and innovative people. See, for example, and I would not want to comment or don't take me personally, but for example, compare it to criminal lawyer. So criminal lawyers most probably are dealing with the criminal aspect of human interactions, wherein you are interacting on creative aspects of human interaction. So that itself is so positive. And nobody's going to the jail, nobody's dying, nobody has murdered anyone. This is all creative. So I think that also leaves a lot of positivity. So it is positivity at your end, positivity at the end of the client, and that I think is much bigger perk other than the monetary aspect.
Point noted, sir. Now, last question. Your experiences, sir, overall as an IP professional and the lessons that you've learned over these years, you wish to share, the mistakes that you've made.
So I think let me start with the mistakes because we as human beings make plenty of mistakes. So the major mistakes I made was I never went for a very broad-based internship in the field of patent or trademark. I was interning in the field of corporate law, even though my interest was in IP. So the point I would like to make from this mistake is please follow your interest. If you're interested in something, pursue it. So, for example, if you're interested in trademark law, don't think twice. Go and pursue the internship for another 4 or 5 months. See if that interests. So that could be one turning point. Second turning point is you have to work a year or 2 or 3 with a decent sized law firm to understand how the practice works. So interacting with the clients, opining, and prosecuting the IPs. So all this can be learned with a decent law firm. And once you have this experience collectively for a 2-year or 3-year period, then I would suggest that you can laterally move upward, sideward, or start independent or whatever. So that was the second mistake wherein I would want the students to learn. Having said that, the experiences have been fantastic. As I said, I have had an inventor, and she was a teacher in a pharmacy school. She was riding on her, moped, and she comes up with some very interesting patent for contraceptives. And lo and behold, this was purchased by a multinational, and we together went to sign a deal worth less than 1 crore of rupees, but more than 60-70 lakhs. And it was, as I said, an experience which first empowered me and made me realize that it's an enriching tool for even my client. So that experience sort of started my journey. And from there on, it has been phenomenal, whether it's in the field of teaching, in the field of practice with the clients, in the field with startups, because now youngsters have such a lovely ecosystem to work with, startups. So I think that is a very good field to work with. Do not shy away because startups don't pay very well. Go and work with startups. You can build wonderful practice, wonderful rapport, wonderful career with startups too. So that's another interesting point that I would want to make. And last point, which I think before we end, is that students who wish to pursue LLM should definitely look at UK, US, Australia for specialized I.P.R LLMs. They are available. And post these I.P.R LLMs, foreign law firms also have a foreign lawyer internship program. So most of the big law firms have specialized internship programs for foreign lawyers who have pursued LLM or foreign lawyers in general. So this is sort of a side note for your WIPO internship. So if you finish your law degree here and if you want to pursue LLM there, whether it's UK or US, pursue internships there that are also good enough to get your foot in the door and have a wonderful career option in those countries also.
Thank you so much there, sir, for your valuable insights on a very special segment of Q&A on how to build a successful career in the field of intellectual property law. And I'm sure this segment will benefit immensely all our viewers. And if you still feel, if you have any, to all the viewers who are watching this, any queries that you've got, feel free to write to us. We'll be more than happy to forward the same to our keynote speaker, our Amicus for today's session, Mr. Vishal Katariya, sir. And thank you so much. Stay tuned. Next episode is on its way. Thank you so much, sir, once again for your valuable insights and taking your time from your busy schedule. Stay home, stay safe. Please take care of yourselves and please like, subscribe, share my channel. So it's goodbye for now. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.